My name is Quinn, and when I was 34, I learned something that broke my heart in 1 second. At my parents' 35th anniversary party, my father looked me in the eye, pointed to the garage, and said, "That seat is for you." Not the ballroom. Not the family table. Not even a corner by the guests. The garage. And the worst part? The man who stole from my grandmother got a gold chair at the main table. I got a plastic one beside a lawn mower. But they did not know what I was holding under my arm. A thin silver gift. Flat. Light. Quiet. And powerful enough to change their whole family in 3 weeks. Welcome back to the Hidden Family Revenge Stories, where quiet people stop begging for love and start seeing their worth. If you have ever been the one who did everything and still got treated like nothing, then stay with me. You will feel every second of this. Before I tell you what I did, you need to know who I am. I am a CPA. I work in forensic accounting. That means I look at numbers until lies start shaking. I sit in cold rooms with stacks of bank papers and find the one thing nobody wanted found. I built that life myself. Community college at night. 2 part-time jobs in the day. And a library card I used so much the barcode almost disappeared. Nobody gave me a shortcut. Nobody paid my bills. Nobody stayed up asking if I had eaten. In my family, I was never the daughter people checked on. I was the daughter who checked on everyone else. If a bill was late, I found it. If a holiday needed planning, I made the list. If Grandma Hazel needed medicine, a ride, or someone to call the repairman before winter, I drove the 40 minutes and handled it. Not because anyone asked sweetly. Not because anyone thanked me. I did it because if I did not do it, nobody would. When I was 19, my mother once looked at me over a pile of unpaid mail and said, "You're good at this kind of thing." That was it. No title. No pay. No thanks. Just a lifetime job inside a family machine. My therapist once told me something hard. She said, taking care of everything can be pain dressed up like skill. She meant it as a warning. I heard it as a job description. So when my parents' anniversary party came up, of course I was the one who made it happen. I booked the place. I spoke with the caterer. I arranged wheelchair transport for Grandma Hazel. I handled every detail, down to the napkin color. I just did not know I was planning my own humiliation. The party was my mother's dream. Elaine Hart loved big family moments, but not because they were warm. She loved what they showed the world. 35 years of marriage. 2 children. A nice house. A pretty porch. Smiling photos on every wall. She wanted everyone to see proof. Elegant, she told me on the phone 5 months before the party. Gold chairs. Not white. Real linens. And make sure the photographer gets the porch. She never said please. She never said thank you. She said, make sure. In our house, that always meant one thing. Quinn will do it. I made a binder. Venue prices. Food plans. Seating chart. Color notes. Diet notes. Rain plan. Backup plan. I spent 11 evenings working on it after my real job. And while I planned the party, I worked on a gift. A real gift. Not something grabbed at the last minute from a store. This one took 2 years of thought. My parents had only one photo from their wedding day. One. A tiny old picture, faded by sun, cracked down the middle, taped inside a kitchen cabinet for as long as I could remember. I had it scanned and repaired piece by piece. Every mark fixed. Every color brought back. Then I had it printed on fine paper and put into a handmade walnut frame. But that was only half the gift. Inside the slim silver folder under the photo, I placed something else. Something that mattered even more. I will tell you what that was soon. For now, just know this, the gift sitting on my passenger seat as I drove to the party was the most personal, most costly, most loving thing I had ever made for two people who had never once asked me what I wanted for my birthday. To understand what happened next, you need to understand a normal day in my family. At 7:14 in the morning, I would text my younger brother, Mason, to remind him about Aunt Nina's birthday. No answer. At 7:45, I would check the Hart family group chat to confirm Grandma Hazel's foot doctor appointment. I was the admin. Nobody asked me to be. I just started keeping the calendar years ago, and nobody ever tried to do it themselves. At 9 o'clock, I would call the venue. At 11 o'clock, I would email the caterer about my dad's shellfish allergy, which he always acted like he did not have, and my mother always confirmed with a tired sigh. At 2 o'clock, my mother would call and skip hello. The florist wants to know about the arch. I already handled it. Good. Your father wants crab cakes. He can't eat shellfish. Pause. Then her favorite line. You always understand, Quinn. For years, I thought those words were love. But if you hold them up to the light, they mean something else. You won't complain. I don't have to explain. You are the easiest person to use. By 5 o'clock that same day, I would have solved 5 problems nobody else even noticed. That was my place in the family. The Hart family ran on Quinn. And Quinn ran on the quiet fear that if she stopped, everything would fall apart. I was about to find out if that was true. My father, Victor Hart, was 63 and never walked into a room without counting people first. Not because he was shy. Because he needed an audience. He loved attention like some people love air. He coached Little League long after Mason quit. He ran for town council twice, lost twice, and still acted like he was important. At his retirement dinner, he gave a speech so long people stopped chewing. My father did not fear being wrong. He feared not being seen. My mother was different. Elaine grew up poor. Trailer poor. Too many kids, not enough food poor. And that fear never left her. She believed love was limited. Like money. Like something you only gave where it would bring the best return. Mason got that love. He was easy. Handsome. Funny. Relaxed. People liked him without effort. I was not the favorite. I was the system. And nobody throws a party for the system. Then there was my cousin, Tyler Reed. 29. Job on and off. Trouble all the time. He had once stolen Grandma Hazel's garnet earrings while she was in the hospital after hip surgery. Pawned them for almost nothing. My Aunt Paula cried and begged my mother to forgive him. And she did. Family is family, my mother said. So Tyler came back to Thanksgiving, sat 3 seats from the woman he robbed, ate her sweet potato casserole, and asked for more. Nobody stopped him. That was my family's shape. My father needed eyes on him. My mother gave love where she saw value. Mason floated through life collecting comfort. Tyler got forgiven. And me? I got the spreadsheet. Now let me tell you about the lake cabin. It sat 90 minutes west of town near Lake Monacan. Cedar walls. Stone fireplace. Old dock that creaked like a soft song at night. Every good family memory lived there. 4th of July sparklers. Thanksgiving steam on the windows. Christmas mornings with gray ice on the water. The cabin had belonged to my grandfather, Walter, before he died in 2011. After that, it passed to my father and Grandma Hazel together. Then mostly to my father after Hazel moved into assisted living. Mostly. Because my father forgot to pay the property taxes. By 2019, the cabin was 3 years behind. 2 county notices came in the mail. He threw them away. In 2020, a tax warning landed in the recycling bin under a pizza box. I found it. I did not ask anyone. I called the county office. Set up a payment plan. And over 4 years, I paid every dollar. Back taxes. Fees. Septic assessment. All of it. $11,400. From my own account. I kept every receipt. Every canceled check. Every green signed mail card from the letters I sent to document the payments. My father never signed them. My mother signed too. Neither of them called. The cabin stayed safe. The dock kept singing. Every Christmas, my father stood by the fire and told the story of how Walter built the cabin with his own hands. He never once said who saved it. I kept that truth quiet. Like a match in my pocket. Waiting. The Wednesday before the party, I slid the last piece into the silver folder. The restored wedding photo. The tax papers. The paid certificate. And a handwritten card. It said, 35 years of the Hart family. Here are 35 more. The cabin is clear, free, and yours. Love, Quinn. I wrapped it in silver paper and tied it with linen cord. Then I held it in my lap for a long time. I let myself imagine my father opening it. Not his proud face. Not his public face. The softer one. The one I had only seen a few times in my life. Once when Grandpa Walter died. Once when Mason scored the winning goal in high school. The face that said, I see you. I thought maybe this gift would bring that face back. I thought maybe love plus loyalty plus years of showing up would finally add up to enough. Enough for a real seat. Enough for my name to mean daughter, not helper. Enough for one moment where I was not introduced as Quinn, the organized one. I drove to the venue the next day with the windows down and hope sitting in my chest like something too fragile to touch. If you have ever carried your whole heart into a family event, then you know how breakable hope is. The venue was the back garden of a lodge on Sycamore Street. White pergola. Summer heat. Smell of flowers in the parking lot. My mother wanted elegant but not too fancy, which really meant expensive with enough parking. 64 guests. Gold chairs with ivory cushions. Round tables covered in white cloth. A string quartet playing music I picked. The photographer was already there taking photos of the flower arch I designed with the florist through 4 emails and 1 late-night mood board. Everything looked perfect. Everything I touched was working. Then I checked the seating chart. Table 1. My parents. Mason. Aunt Paula. Uncle Frank. Grandma Hazel. Table 2. The Reeds. Including Tyler. Tables 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I moved my finger slowly. My name was not there. I checked again. Nothing. Not at a table. Not in the back. Not an overflow. Not even at the children's table. The seating chart I built did not include me. I was still standing there with the silver gift under my arm when my father walked over. He smiled at me the way people smile at workers, not family. Then he pointed toward the garage. The garage sat off the side of the lodge through a small breezeway. It smelled like old cement and motor oil. It was not part of the event at all. It held folding tables, cones, and a riding mower with a dead tire. My father walked me there with one hand at my back, guiding and pushing at the same time. Inside was one chair. A white plastic folding chair. No table. No plate. No name card. Just one chair between a stained workbench and a stack of orange cones. The light above buzzed so loudly it hurt my teeth. I stared at a water stain on the ceiling because I could not look at my father. If I looked at him, I would see the smirk. And if I saw the smirk, something inside me might break too fast. It's just for extended family, he said. 5 words. He said them like it was normal. Like I should understand. Like being sent to a garage while strangers drank champagne 20 feet away was a small thing. Then he walked back to his gold chair. I sat down. The plastic edge bit into my thigh right away. I placed the silver gift on my lap and looked out through the open breezeway. From there, I could see part of the party. Aunt Paula fixing her shawl. Mason arriving late with a bottle of wine he absolutely did not choose himself. Grandma Hazel in her wheelchair, scanning the room the way she always did when she looked for me. And Tyler. Tyler sitting in a gold chair. Tyler laughing. Tyler, who stole from Grandma Hazel. Tyler, who got forgiven. Tyler had a place card. A cloth napkin. A champagne glass. A view of the flower arch I made. I had a folding chair beside spray paint. The quartet started playing through the wall. Guests clinked glasses. Someone gave a toast I could not hear. The whole party I planned was happening without me, right in front of me, while I sat in hiding like a worker who had finished setting the stage. I stayed there 11 minutes. I counted. And in those 11 minutes, nobody came for me. Not one person. That was the answer to a question I had been too scared to ask for 15 years. People expect a big explosion at a moment like that. A screaming match. A plate breaking. A tearful speech. That is not what happened. What happened was math. 15 years of family work. 4 years of cabin taxes. 2 years planning a gift. 5 months planning a party. And 1 plastic chair in a garage. The numbers did not lead to tears. They led to truth. I was never a guest. I was labor. I had confused being needed with being loved. And that mistake had eaten years of my life. The chair pinched me again. I looked down at the gift on my lap. A restored memory. A saved future. Wrapped in silver for people who put me beside a lawn mower. And the ugliest part? They expected me to stay. They expected me to sit quietly, hear the music through the wall, and then come help clean up later because that was what I always did. Because I always understood. That was the moment the math became a decision. Not a loud one. A clean one. Like a lock opening inside my chest. I stood up. The chair scraped the floor hard enough to echo. I picked up the gift and walked out. Not fast. Not angry. Steady. Like I walk into an audit when I already know where the lie is. The quartet had just stopped between songs. The garden was caught in that soft pause where nobody knows something is about to change. I walked past table 1. Past table 2, where Tyler was eating with his fingers. Past the guest book I assembled. Past the arch I designed. Past the bar I arranged. And toward the gate. My mother noticed first. She always noticed movement before feeling. Quinn. I kept walking. Quinn, wait. Then the line she cared about most. Don't do this in front of everyone. I stopped at the gate and turned around. She stood 3 steps behind me, face tight, smile fake, hands up like she was calming an animal. You always understand, Quinn, she said. Like that old spell would still work. I lifted the silver gift so she could see it. Then I said 2 words. Extend this. And I walked to my car. That night I sat on my couch with a glass of water and my phone beside me. I did not want to check it. I checked it anyway. The Hart family group chat had dozens of new messages. I scrolled past photos and shallow praise and found a smaller thread from 6 days earlier. I had missed it because admin chats were filtered into a side tab. The first message was from my mother. Seating update. Quinn can sit in the side area. She won't mind. She'll be helping anyway. My father replied. Put her in the garage. More room for the Hendersons. Mason answered with a laughing emoji. She'll understand, LOL. Then came more messages. Should they tell me before? No, I would make it weird. And my mother wrote, she's busy with the caterer. She won't notice until it's too late. 9 messages. 6 days. A plan. They had planned my humiliation in a chat I managed for them. And nobody deleted it because nobody even thought I mattered enough to check. I read it twice. Then I put the phone down. I did not scream. I did not cry. I just finally knew. The next morning, I made coffee, sat at my desk, and opened a spreadsheet. Of course I did. The columns were simple. Task. Frequency. Last completed. Replacement. Status. Then I listed every single thing I did for my family. Grandma Hazel's appointments. Prescriptions. Insurance calls. Family calendar. Birthdays. Holidays. RSVPs. Travel plans. Cabin taxes. Cabin repairs. My parents' household overflow. Bills my mother forgot. Medicine my father ignored. Mason's car registration. Mason's dentist appointments. Every graduation party. Every birthday dinner. Every holiday plan for 15 years. 41 repeating tasks. 41. Not one had ever been formally given to me. Not one had been thanked. Not one had been paid. I looked at that list the way I looked at broken books in an audit. The truth was not emotional anymore. It was measurable. I was not going to write a long speech. Not going to post online. Not going to send a dramatic family email. I was going to do something quieter. And far more painful. I was going to stop. On Monday, I removed myself as admin from the family chat and left it. No announcement. No warning. By Tuesday, the chat was already confused. Who had Grandma Hazel's appointment address? What time was it? Which entrance had the wheelchair ramp? Nobody knew. I knew, because I had taken her there 11 times. On Wednesday, I called Grandma Hazel directly. I told her I still loved her. I told her I would still visit. But I was stepping back from the family work. If she needed scheduling, she would have to ask my parents now. She was quiet. Then she said, I wondered when you would finally see it. That was all. No guilt. No begging. Just truth. Then she told me Grandpa Walter used to say, the fence post holding the most wire is the first one nobody paints. I cried for 6 minutes after that call. Then I wiped my face and transferred every vendor account from the party to my mother's name. The venue. The caterer. The photographer. The quartet. One by one, I said, I am no longer the contact person. The caterer paused and said, oh. I thought you were the one in charge. That sentence stayed with me all day. The family chat went quiet for 3 days. Then the cracks started. My mother called the foot doctor to move Hazel's appointment and learned the account was under my login. She did not have the password. She called me at work. I let it ring. Then the venue emailed her about a cleaning deposit refund. She had no idea there was a deposit. My father called Mason. Mason texted me, can you just handle this? I did not answer. Then the shared family calendar died. Aunt Paula's birthday passed with no reminders. Uncle Frank missed the prep for a medical test because nobody told him what day to start. A plumber I had arranged for my parents showed up Monday morning, and my father answered the door in a bathrobe asking why a stranger had a wrench in his hand. For 15 years, I had stopped things from breaking before anyone saw the damage. That is the hard thing about invisible work. It only becomes visible when it stops. 3 weeks passed. No apology. Just requests for help. By week 4, their voices changed. Less confused. More angry. My mother called one Tuesday night. Why didn't you handle the caterer refund? Now they say we owe 200 more. I said, I'm not the office anymore. I'm just family now. Silence. Then, what does that even mean? It means the invoice is in your email. She hung up. My father called 2 days later. Your mother is stressed. The house is a mess. The calendar is gone. What are you trying to prove? I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just not doing it anymore. After everything we've done for you. And then he stopped. Because he had nothing. Nothing real to put after that line. Mason texted instead of calling. This is getting dramatic. I typed 3 answers. Deleted all of them. Put my phone away and went for a walk. When I came back, there was a new group chat called Family Coordination. No calendar. 14 complaints. I visited Grandma Hazel on a Sunday at Meadowbrook Assisted Living. She sat by the window with a crossword book and cold tea. When she saw me, her face lit up slowly, like a lamp turning warm. There's my girl, she said. I sat on her bed and told her everything. The garage. The messages. The spreadsheet. The silence. When I finished, she said something I never forgot. Your mother was like this once too. I looked at her. When she married your father, she did all the work for my side of the family. Cards. Holidays. Meals. Calls. My sister Rose used to call her the secretary. Your mother hated that name. She swore her daughter would never feel that way. Hazel sighed. Then she had you. And you were so good at carrying things. I think she forgot what it felt like. That did not excuse my mother. But it explained her. She had escaped one extra chair by pushing me into it. Hazel squeezed my hand. Keep that cabin safe, she said. Walter would have wanted you to have it. 6 weeks after the party, the next crisis arrived. The county mailed a new special assessment for the Lake Road sewer upgrade. $4,000. Deadline October 15th. I had known about it for 2 years. I had even set money aside in a separate account when I still thought I was saving things for all of us. My father called furious. Did you know about this? Yes. Why didn't you tell us? It was on the calendar. What calendar? The one nobody checked. Then he said the thing they always said. You need to handle this. And for the first time in my life, I said, no. Just that. No. The word felt so strange in my mouth it almost scared me. But once it was out, I could not pretend I had not heard it. The cabin is in your name, I told him. The county office is on Miller Street. They're open 9 to 4. He hung up. My hands shook after that call. Not because I was weak. Because I had finally put down a weight I had carried so long I forgot it was crushing me. The change in my life began in a small conversation at my friend Naomi's house. Naomi was a family therapist. I told her the whole story over crackers and wine. She listened, then said, there are thousands of women like you. Daughters. Sisters. Aunts. Grandmothers. Women who keep whole families alive and still get treated like furniture. I asked, why isn't there a group for people like that? Naomi looked at me and said, I've been waiting for someone to ask. Our first meeting was in October, in the back room of a coffee shop downtown. 7 women came. 2 daughters. 3 sisters. 1 aunt. 1 grandmother who had run her son's house for 22 years and still was not invited to his anniversary dinner. We called the group the backup chair. Because every one of us knew what it felt like to hold up the room and still be seated out of sight. The first woman who spoke was Karen, 51, an office manager. She looked around and whispered, you mean I'm allowed to just sit down? The room went silent. Then someone laughed. Then someone cried. Then all of us sat there with cold coffee and the first real feeling of being seen. By December, we had 19 women and a waiting list. That was when my mother began her next move. Not a call. A letter. Cream paper. Neat writing. Church lady writing. Dear Quinn. I don't understand what happened. You have always been the strong one, the one who holds this family together. Without you, things are falling apart. Your father won't say it, but he is struggling. Mason can't manage the calendar. Nobody knows how to coordinate grandma's appointments. You are tearing this family apart, and I don't think that is who you are. Love, Mom. It was the longest thing she had ever written to me. And every line was a job request wearing a love mask. No apology. No mention of the garage. No mention of the cruel chat. Just, the machine is breaking. Please come be the machine again. My father chose a different road. He came to my office. He stood in the front room loud enough for my assistant to hear and said, "After everything we did for you, this is how you repay us?" I walked him into the parking lot and asked, "What exactly did you do for me, Dad?" He opened his mouth. Closed it. Then said, "We raised you." I looked at him and said, "You raised me to run your life. That is not the same thing." He left. I sat in my office chair for 10 minutes after that, staring at the wall. By late November, my absence had become obvious to the whole family. Nobody had sent the Thanksgiving plan. Nobody had updated Hazel's November appointments. The new system Mason made lasted 9 days before he forgot half the entries and double-booked Thanksgiving with a gym class. On day 10, he sent a message that said, "Can someone else do this? I'm drowning." 9 days. He lasted 9 days. I had done it for 15 years. Tyler crawled back too. He joined the new family chat and posted a link to a fundraiser for his car. 2 people donated. Mason was one of them. The family was now a machine with no one quietly turning the gears. Bills got missed. Plans got dropped. My father carved Thanksgiving turkey in angry silence because the pickup time had been wrong. My mother smiled through it all with that stiff smile she wore when the room was burning but the tablecloth was still flat. Then came Grandma Hazel's 89th birthday. My mother planned a restaurant dinner. No transport plan. No food check. No calls to the grandkids. Just a reservation and a message in the group. Hazel told me herself. She said, "Your mother says there's a dinner." She did not sound excited. She wanted the lake cabin. She wanted cornbread and the old fireplace and the dock sounds. But that was not happening. My father had ignored the cabin assessment deadline. The penalty had already hit. 3 days before the dinner, my mother called. "Your grandmother wants you there. Will you come?" I said yes. Not for her. Not for my father. For Hazel. But I would not come empty-handed. And I would not come unready. For 2 days, I prepared a plain manila folder. Inside it, I put tax records, invoices, and a printed timeline of every task I had done for the family from 2009 through the anniversary party. 41 items. 15 years. 0 thanks. If they wanted a family dinner, I was ready to give them the truth with it. The restaurant was called Birch and Barrel. Exposed brick. Warm lights. Fancy menu. 1 long oak table for 12. My father sat at the head. My mother next to him. Mason nearby. Aunt Paula. Uncle Frank. Susan. Tyler somehow. 2 of Hazel's friends from Meadowbrook. And me at the far end beside Hazel's wheelchair. But I brought one more thing. The white folding chair from the garage. A week earlier, I had gone back to the lodge and asked for it. The manager said I could have it. I carried it into the restaurant and leaned it against the wall behind me. White. Ugly. Impossible to ignore. My mother saw it first. She looked at the chair, then at me. She said nothing. Hazel touched my arm and whispered, "Good." Dinner began. Drinks came. Food came. Small talk floated around the table. I waited. Because I knew this family. And I knew it was only a matter of time before someone asked me to fix something. It took 23 minutes. My father leaned forward and said, "Quinn, we need to talk about the cabin." The whole table went quiet. "The assessment is overdue," he said. "There's a penalty now. Nobody can get into the tax account because it's in your name." "It's in my name because I set it up," I said. "Because I've been paying it." "We need you to transfer it back. The cabin is family property. It belongs to all of us." I looked at him. That old trick again. Turn my work into his story. "The cabin belongs to all of us?" I asked softly. "Funny. The taxes only belong to me." My father ignored that. "You'll always be family when we need you," he said. There it was. The whole design of the family in one sentence. Not loved. Needed. Needed when useful. Around the table, people shifted. Aunt Paula stared at her plate. Susan looked at Uncle Frank. Mason looked at his phone. Tyler studied the bread basket. My mother smiled that worried little smile she used when she hoped a mess would fix itself. I reached into my bag and laid the manila folder on the table. Then I opened it. "This is a record of every task I've done for this family since 2009, I said. 41 repeating jobs. Grandma Hazel's medical care. Appointments. Insurance. Prescriptions. Every holiday. Every RSVP. Every dinner. Every party. Dad's medicine. Mom's claims. Mason's car registration. Everything." I turned the page. This is the cabin file. In 2020, I found a tax warning in the trash. You owed 3 years of taxes and fees. I paid $11,400 over 4 years. I mailed proof every time. Mom signed 2 of the letters. The receipts are here. Then I reached into the bag one more time. And pulled out the silver gift. Still wrapped. Still unopened. I untied the linen cord and laid the photo on the table. My parents as young newlyweds on courthouse steps. Borrowed clothes. Nervous faces. Hands locked together. Under it, the tax certificate. The canceled checks. The green signed mail cards. And the note. 35 years of the Hart family. Here are 35 more. The cabin is clear, free, and yours. Love, Quinn. Nobody moved. Hazel's hand stayed on my arm. Aunt Paula covered her mouth. I looked straight at my father. "You put me in a garage the night I was going to give you this," I said. "You sat me between a lawnmower and spray paint. You planned it in a group chat. You laughed. And you did it because you thought I would understand." Silence filled the whole table. My father's face changed in pieces. Shock. Then thinking. Then anger. Anger won. "You're twisting this," he snapped. "You were helping. Nobody punished you. You were in the garage because extra chairs were there, and you always pitch in." "There was one chair," I said. "And you smirked." His neck turned red. "This is your problem, Quinn. Everything is personal. I spent 35 years building this family, and you want to destroy it over a chair?" I did not raise my voice. I did not need to. "You did not build this family," I said. "I did. You just enjoyed it." The whole table flinched. My father shoved back his chair and stood. My mother began to cry. Not the shocked kind. The polished kind. "Quinn, please," she said. "You always understand. We never meant." "I finally do," I said. That stopped her cold. Her favorite line had nowhere left to go. Mason stared down at the tablecloth. Tyler shifted in his seat. Then Aunt Paula suddenly turned toward him and said, "Since we're finally telling the truth, where are my mother's earrings, Tyler?" And just like that, the table cracked open. Not into screaming. Into honesty. I sat there at the end of the table, with Hazel beside me and the folding chair behind me, and I looked at my father one last time. "It's just for extended family," I said. "So extend this." He had no answer. For the first time in his life, he had no audience left. I closed the folder and slid the photo and papers to Hazel. "This was always yours," I told her. She touched the frame softly. Then she looked up at me and said, "Walter would have put you at the head of the table." I stood. Not shaking. Not crying. Just finished. "I'm not disappearing," I told them. "I'm just going home to my own table." Then I looked at my mother. "If you want a relationship with me, it starts with my name on a real chair. Not a task list. Not a role. My name." She said nothing. My father said nothing. Mason looked like a boy who had just realized comfort costs someone. I pushed Hazel's wheelchair toward the door. Nobody stopped us. Outside, the air was cold and sharp. I loaded her chair, helped her into the car, and buckled her in. She smiled and said, "I want cornbread tomorrow." I laughed through tears. "You'll get cornbread tomorrow." We drove home in silence, warm heat filling the car. And for the first time in years, silence did not feel lonely. It felt free. The fallout came fast. Within 2 weeks, my mother hired a part-time care coordinator for Hazel. It cost $1,400 a month. The caterer sent a collection notice because nobody handled the cleaning deposit right. Mason got pulled over with an expired tag because I was not there to renew it for him. The cabin assessment sat on my father's counter until a second warning letter scared him enough to pay it. Tyler's fundraiser made $300. Aunt Paula blocked him after the earring fight exploded in texts. For the first time, my family learned what invisible work costs when the invisible person stops doing it. It costs money, time, stress. And most of all, it costs the lie that everything just works. By February, the backup chair had 26 women. We moved from the coffee shop to the community room at a church on Cedar Avenue. Karen brought banana bread every meeting and said, "This is the only bread I bake for people who notice." Naomi led the group. I mostly listened. I was learning something new. How to sit in a room without carrying it. My work life grew too. More clients. Better cases. Stronger days. I repainted my kitchen. I went on a date with a man named Eli who made the reservation himself and pulled out my chair without asking me to organize one single thing. I almost cried. Hazel came to my apartment for Sunday dinners. I made cornbread every time. She sat at my real oak table, the one I bought myself, and told stories about Walter, the lake, the dock, the old summers, the hard winters. And I sat at the head of the table. Nobody assigned me there. I just took my place. One Sunday in March, Hazel and I finished dinner and sat with tea while late light touched my hallway wall. That was where the restored wedding photo hung now. Hazel had insisted. "Your parents can have it when they earn it," she said. I looked at that photo every morning before work. Not with hate. Not even with sadness anymore. Just with truth. Love without respect is labor. And I was done working for free. A chair you must earn every day was never really yours. People who love you do not hide your seat. They pull it out before you arrive. And the day you stop paying for a place at someone else's table is the day you finally learn where you belong. I learned. I did not belong in a garage. I belonged at a table I built with my own hands, beside people who saw me before they needed me. That is my story. 15 years of invisible work. One folding chair. And one gift they never got to keep. If you have ever been the backup chair in your family, the one who holds everything up and still gets seated last, hear me now. You are allowed to sit down. You are allowed to stop. And you are allowed to choose a table where your name matters.